Hello, you are listening to the application guidance that has been pre-recorded specifically for completing the housing development application under the 2025 Nebraska Affordable Housing Trust Fund. If you have a technical assistance project, there is a separate recorded presentation for that application type located on the Trust Fund webpage. Thank you for taking time to review this guidance. Applicants are encouraged to schedule a meeting with their housing program representative to discuss their project during the application cycle. This guidance should not replace a thorough review of the 2025 application guidelines. Getting started with the full application. First, be sure you have submitted a pre-application as it is a requirement. Next, review the resources available under Training and Workshops. This section is on the Trust Fund webpage. The slide decks titled Getting Started and one on open office hours from March 6th are available for review, and they will cover topics that will not be repeated in this recorded presentation. This presentation should not be a substitute for reviewing the 2025 application guidelines. On this slide, you see a clip from the Trust Fund webpage. There are 4 blue boxes containing the links to the applications. If you have already completed a pre-application, you will be familiar with entering AmpliFund, the grant management system that is used to complete an application. If you wish to download a copy of the full application, you can do so by clicking the Apply Now, and before logging into AmpliFund, click on the Download button, and you will have a PDF copy of the complete application to review. Every applicant should be using the 2025 application guidelines when completing an application. You may click on the table of contents to be taken directly to the section or the page number. You can also use Control F to search for terms. Section 7 is dedicated to the technical assistance application, so anyone submitting for a technical assistance award should review Section 7. The housing development application is covered in several sections. The first section covers information general to every project type, and there are sections specific to each of the 3 main project types: homebuyer, rental, and homeowner. The individual types were described in both the Getting Started slide deck and during the March 6th open office hours, and they will not be repeated in this workshop, but please go back and review them. Following submission of the full application, which is due on May 22nd by 5 o'clock Central Time, the applications will be evaluated for meeting threshold and undergo a review and selection process. Announcements of awards will take place sometime prior to December 31st. Following a notice of award, awardees will meet with their housing program representatives to review the contract, and the contract is executed through the DocuSign process. Once both the department and the awardee have executed the contract, the awardee will be able to access their award account. Then we will enter into the special conditions phase. Special conditions items are detailed in the contract. After receipt and approval of all special conditions items, the award is ready for a release of funds. A release of funds letter is sent by email to the authorized individual, the local contact, and the recipient grant manager. It is very important for applicants to remember that the project cannot be incurring any costs until after they have received a release of funds letter. Be sure all project team members are aware of this typical timeline when developing the project for a trust fund application. A project's program guidelines are a required upload to the application. It is recommended to begin work on them right away, as there will be questions within the application that are related to the information found in a project's program guidelines. A program guidelines checklist for each project type is found on the Trust Fund webpage. Applicants will need to refer to the checklist to ensure all required information is included in the project's program guidelines. If you have questions, please contact your housing program representative for assistance. Applicants with homebuyer projects involving new construction or the purchase of existing units for rehabilitation and resale to eligible homebuyers must complete a homebuyer development worksheet. The department has a required template. Applicants must download and complete the homebuyer development worksheet from the trust fund's webpage. This worksheet must be uploaded then to the application after being completed. The completed worksheet will be used by the department to underwrite the project. You will need to fill out the first tab named App Info. Information provided on the first tab will ensure proper functionality on the Homebuyer Development Worksheet's second tab, so please be sure to start with the very first tab when filling in your information. There is a tab also called the Per Unit Subsidy Limit. This tab is for information purposes only, and there will not need to be any input on it. Once you are in the second tab called the Homebuyer Development Worksheet, you can scroll to the far right and you will see the instructions for completing the worksheet. These are listed on a line-by-line basis. If you have any questions, please reach out to your housing program representative. Applicants with a rental project are required to download the template for a rental development worksheet from the trust fund webpage. Only the 2025 version of the template will be accepted for upload to the application. Please note that there was discovered a broken link on the first version of the rental development worksheet, and a corrected copy has been uploaded to the trust fund's webpage on March 10th. Therefore, if you downloaded the template prior to March 10th, please go back and download the most current version. The Rental Program Guidelines checklist has important information on page 3 that applicants must review when completing the development worksheet, including the department's required thresholds for amount of operating and replacement reserves and the debt service coverage ratio. Cash match is not a requirement for projects. However, applicants with housing development projects that are providing a cash match as part of their application are joining the department in the investment of resources and in risk, and therefore the applicant is awarded points. This slide is showing a portion of the cash match documentation form. Applicants who will be committing to a cash match must download the 2025 version of this cash match documentation form from the trust fund's webpage. The form must be completed on the applicant's letterhead and signed by the same authorized signer as is entered into the application. Cash match is provided by an applicant from their own funds and should not be confused with other sources of funding being used as leverage. Other sources of funding will be listed in the application on the leverage table. They will be evaluated and eligible for points during the review process. The trust fund is not meant to be the only source of funding for a project. Therefore, applicants are encouraged to seek out additional sources of funding to support the project. Other sources of funding are given within the application on the leverage table. These are non-trust fund sources used for funding the hard costs of a primary or support activity, and they happen during the open contract period. These sources must align with the development worksheet. Pre-development costs are not leverage. However, there is a question within the application where applicants may describe any pre-development costs. The Nebraska Affordable Housing Act requires that for-profit entities who are benefiting from the trust fund assistance by owning the completed units for sale to eligible homebuyers or by owning units for rent to eligible tenants must participate in the project's financing by providing a minimum of 10% of the requested amount of trust fund in the non-administrative activities. This must be shown as owner equity. This is a view of the AmpliFund General Management System from within the full application. If you have already submitted a pre-application, you will know how to get to this point. If you have not, please go back and review the resources available to you under the Training and Workshop section of the Trust Fund website. The project information section is exactly the same for the pre-application as the full application. However, once we move into the application forms, there is a difference. So within the application forms, you can see there are 5 forms, 1 through 5. You will be completing Form 1 and Form 5 for any project type that you are applying for. However, you will choose from Form 2, Form 3, or Form 4, and you will only be fully completing one of those forms that matches the name of the project you are applying for. So if this is a homebuyer new construction project, you will enter Form 2, and you will complete all questions within that. If this is a rental project application, then you will be completing Form 3. It's important to know, however, that you still have to enter the other forms and mark them as complete in order for you to be able to submit the application. So I'm going to example that for you. We're going to say that we are a rental project application. I still need to enter the Form 2. Once I enter it, it asks me, is this a homebuyer project application? And it already has no selected. And so that is correct because I'm a rental project. Applicant has indicated this is not a homebuyer new construction, purchase, rehab, resale, or homebuyer assistance. Applicant must scroll to the bottom and click on Mark Complete, and then save and continue to be advanced to the next application form. So you will still need to go all the way down to the bottom and mark as complete. Once you mark as complete, it will still stay on that page unless you hit save and continue. Then it will take you to the next form, which is Form 3. Now we stated that we are a rental project. The default is to say no. You want to get rid of this red. You want to say yes, I am a rental project application, so that all questions will open up pertaining to the rental project. It's very, very important you click yes for the correct project type that you are applying for. You will proceed to answer all questions within the rental application. And once you are done, you can at any time hit save, which will allow you to save whatever information you have put in there. When you are fully done, you mark as complete. It's going to show an application error because I've left some fields unfulfilled. So you will go back up and find any fields that did not have an answer to them. Helps you not miss any required fields within your rental application. Once that is done, you will mark as complete, save and continue, and it will take you to the last form. Again, the default is no, but you must then go all the way down, follow the instructions, saying go all the way down to the bottom and click mark as complete. So it is very important that you know you will still enter all of the forms, but you are going to make sure that no is selected on the ones that you are not applying for, and yes is selected for the ones you are. Once the status says complete on all the forms, it will allow you to submit. Right now, I've simply saved what I'm working on in the rental project application, and I will go back and fill out everything and then mark as complete. Of course, I didn't show you the Form 1. It is the same. I believe it's the same as what pre-application had for the most part. There's probably some slight differences. But when you enter it, be sure to read all of the instructions that are available to you and flow down through and answer everything. And if you have missed something, it will tell you when you hit mark as complete. This one goes all the way down through all the questions. And again, if you can save whatever you've been working on. It does say success, but it shows you what fields have not been completed yet. And it won't allow you to mark as complete until all fields are filled in. Okay, I believe that's everything I needed to show you having to do with the housing development application. The technical assistance application is a separate recording on the trust fund website. If you have any trouble with navigating this system, or whether, even have trouble with understanding a question that has been laid out for you in the application, please reach out to your housing program representative for assistance. This slide is a reminder for some more important information regarding the housing development application. You can only have one project per entry into the Amplifund application portal. So, for example, an applicant who is applying for a homebuyer new construction project and also applying for a homebuyer purchase rehab resale project must enter the portal 2 separate times and create 2 separate full applications. Each application will be named specifically to identify that project type and the activities being applied for. Please be sure to review the section of application guidelines that tells you how to name your application. Another example is if you are applying for both a rental project, which is Form 2, or a homeowner OOR project, which is Form 4. You may not fill out within the same application entry both Form 2 and Form 4, or Form 3 and Form 4. You must only choose to fill out one of those forms per entry into the application portal. Each entry must be named specifically to describe one project type. If you have any questions, please request some assistance from your housing program representative. Applicants should be making use of resources provided. This slide lists some of those typical resources. The first resource on the list, the Housing Application Best Practices slide deck, is found under the Application Guidelines section of the Trust Fund's webpage. This resource was built to assist all of the department's housing programs, and applicants may find the information helpful as they work on their application. On the Trust Fund webpage, there is also a Training and Workshops section, and applicants will find recorded guidance and slide decks to assist them specifically on the current Trust Fund's application cycle. In the event the application guidelines are updated, the applicants will be sent an email to make them aware that a new version has been posted. Applicants will need to check the record of change to see if any revision edits affect their particular project type. The application guideline appendix has a section of frequently asked questions that applicants can review. If the department develops any new FAQs, they will be posted on the Trust Fund's webpage and mentioned in the open office hours. And of course, the housing program representative for your region is your first line of contact for any questions. The state's main objective for distributing trust fund resources is to invest funds in quality projects and programs that help eligible applicants leverage private financing to create permanent, energy-efficient, and affordable housing that addresses local needs. State resources are limited, and there is an increasing demand for trust fund award distribution. The applicant's ability to follow application instructions and to articulate the project's impact on housing supply will reflect favorably during the application evaluation phase. This slide includes some additional tips for creating an exceptional application. In general, applications that have implemented the tips shown on this slide has stood out in all areas of the application review process. Here are some project planning tips. Whether you are starting this year in the 2025 cycle to create a project or you are planning for next year, these are some tips that may be helpful. And in general, you want to create a project that is going to be ready to go as soon as a release of funds is granted. So have your sites under control or owned by the applicant or project partners. Ensure the zoning is in place. Have architectural designs ready for application. Complete a project's development worksheet based on researched costs or preliminary bids. Put together a strong project team with experience and skills needed to make the project a success. And set up a meeting with a program housing representative to discuss the project early on. Mark your calendars. The site review forms are due March 27th. They need to be sent to your housing program representative. If you are a rental project, This is a requirement to have the site review forms submitted by March 27th. If you are a home buyer project and would like credit for submitting a site review form and having it approved, you must also submit by March 27th to assure there is time to get them approved and uploaded to your application before submission. Full applications are due Thursday, May 22nd at 5 o'clock Central Time. There will be no applications accepted after that time, so please do not wait until the last day in case there are any technical difficulties. We recommend submitting at least 2 days ahead. You can stay informed by joining the department's mailing list. At the bottom of every web page, there is a link where you can join the mailing list. Be sure to find the trust fund specific list and sign up for it so that if we send out any communications, you will be alerted through that. This concludes the pre-recorded guidance for the Nebraska Affordable Housing Trust 2025 application cycle. If you have any questions, please email or call your housing program representative. We wish you the very best as you proceed with the application for the 2025 cycle. Thank you for listening.